Good morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is The Take on this Monday morning. And if you look back to last week, it really was a shift from that previous week where we had that incredible selling a week ago Friday. And now you go back to last week, had a nice run to the upside, hitting some new records. Once again, S&P, you name it, just some new records, obviously the NASDAQ as well. But we started off on Friday with a really strong Dow, up triple digits. It basically hung upon that area for the majority of the day. As a matter of fact, an hour into the day, we were up 225 points. We finished up 237 points. On the other hand, you look over at the NASDAQ, and we've been talking about this. We talked about the healthy rotations that we have been seeing from sectors as well as some of these indices. Well, we had a healthy bit of a rotation where we took a little bit of a break when you're looking at the semiconductors and technology and that type of a thing. And we actually finished the day down about 9 points on the NASDAQ. So despite the fact that we had this triple digit move to the upside on the Dow, we had the NASDAQ just kind of slowing things down after we'd seen some nice moves to the upside, particularly from big cap tech. Now, some of the sectors that were propelling that upside move, financials definitely leading the way, up about 1.25%. Also, take a look at Nike. Nike, let's be honest, the influence that had on the market, and actually the cascade of other names in the space that started to move because of what was seen and what was the execution that we'd seen from Nike. Nike up about 15% on the day, a really nice move to the upside. We had consumer staples, we had energy, both moving to the upside as well. Take a look at the XOP, another nice move to the upside. Not seeing that today, but we'll wait on that for just a second longer. So some of the names that really stood out for me throughout the session, obviously Nike, crushed their earnings up about 15%. How about Virgin Galactic as well? SPCE, now this is another one of those names. They got that approval that they've been searching for. Stock was up 38%. That's a massive move for a stock that's been around as long as it has, and it's made some big moves in the past. That's a pretty extraordinary move. It hasn't made a move like that in quite a while. Then you look over at CarMax. CarMax up 7%. Talking about crushing earnings. Take a look at some of those numbers, the used market and all the rest of it. We all know the story. We've heard it time and time again. And oh, by the way, Target, another new high last Friday. So we just continue to see some of these momentum plays that are moving to the upside. We know the backdrop, we know the storylines, and obviously there's been this, and we continue to see this, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's not a straight line. We're not saying that every single day the same sector's been leading, and that's part of what I think is part of the healthiness of what we're seeing. Volatility, trading right around that 16 level, and then you take a look over at the volumes, and wow, once again, we had volumes exceeding 40 million contracts this past Friday, once again. Tesla contributed pretty nicely, up 2.1 million contracts. We also, Virgin Galactic on that huge move, that was number 2 in terms of volume, 1.3 million contracts. Then you had Apple and AMC, both right around that million contract sort of a range. AMC just below the million contracts. But the other thing that stood out in another nice big run, we talk about energy. How about that move in oil, in crude? 74. So we've been on this path. We talked about it way back in November. We talked about during the election, and just after the election, the move in financials, in materials, in energy, in crude, all of these different areas of the market that have been literally moving for this long period of time. And you take a look over and you see $74 crude. That's a pretty amazing thing. Bitcoin, it hit 35,000. Quickly reversed and got back down towards that 32,000 level on Friday. It's been a little bit more volatile. We've been talking about how there was no volatility for a little while, very short time, and then volatility came right back into it. Today, how did the market start off? We were under a little bit of pressure on the Dow, nothing big early on. NASDAQ was actually in positive territory, started to move. It was up about 50 points or thereabouts, started to build upon that in this first hour of trade, up about 100 points for the NASDAQ. On the other hand, you take a look over at the Dow, and this is exactly the counter of what we'd seen on Friday. Started to see some pressure. That pressure came early, down 100 points, down 130 points. Last I looked, that's where we were trading, down about 130 points. The strength from the NASDAQ, absolutely technology, up about 1%. And it's those old school names. Yep, take a look. Apple, Microsoft, Facebook, Tesla, Intel, you look at this list and it's kind of the old tech, and it depends on where you want to put Tesla. But Tesla, I've always put it in as a tech company. Everybody else says an automobile company. I say a tech company. It's been trading and has been trading like a tech company, for a couple of years now. Sooner or later, everybody, I think, is going to wake up to that idea, but we'll see how that lasts. But so far, so good. And a nice, powerful move. We also have a little bit of a move in biotech, but I'll tell you what, semiconductors absolutely ripping to the upside as well. Last I looked at the SMH, it was up about 1.6% or thereabouts. NVIDIA, definitely one of those. Applied Material, throw in AMD. You got a really nice move to the upside out of many of the names in the semiconductor space. So energy under huge pressure today. Last I looked, it had been down about 2.5%. I think the last I looked, it was down well over 3% to the downside. Financials, down about 1%. You look over at industrials, down about 1%. You look at materials, down about 0.75%. So that is why we are seeing this move in the Dow. A lot of those various names: Boeing, Chevron, Dow, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Caterpillar, Disney. You get the idea. We know exactly the names that we're talking about, and I know those various categories, those sectors definitely went underneath a little bit of pressure. The reopening trade, at least early on, kind of interesting to see some of that pressure, because it was something that had started to see an acceleration of the upside, but a little bit of pressure today on Carnival Cruise, Royal Caribbean, some of those kind of names. Beta names in energy, definitely one of those areas that's getting hit pretty hard today. Again, on that 2 steps forward, 1 step back type of a thing. It's exactly what we've been seeing, and that's been the path for energy for a while, been the path for financials, been the path for materials, that entire space. Last I looked, volatility index was up a little bit, but trading right around 16, so nothing very dramatic. Crude pulling back a little bit. That's definitely helping some of that pullback that we are seeing. Last I looked, crude was trading 73.40. Still an amazing area when you consider this big move from energy that's been going on for months and months. Bitcoin bouncing a little bit up towards that 34,000 level once again as well. So 2 unusuals, and I got to get out of here. It's going to be a very busy day. I've got to catch up on my radio guys back in Minnesota in just a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes from now. And I might be doing a call in today as well with the halftime report. We'll see exactly how time is able to allow for me to be able to do some of that. Got some travel in front of me as well. So number 1, Clorox. Not a name that we talk about very often. That's why I decided I'd use it for unusual today. Unusual to see this name in the unusual category of the options. It was trading 178, call it 178.50. We had a pretty daggone large buyer, 9,300 of the July 190 calls. Those were going for about 45 cents up to about 85 cents. Like I say, not a name we see very often on unusual, a pretty decent sized trade there as well. And so that's why we're focusing a little bit of our attention, because we were just talking about this, Glenn and I, just before we came on. We've got about 20 plus unusual option activities hitting in the first hour of trade today. So an incredible amount of activity. I might even give you a little sleeper one as well. TLRY, by the way. TLRY is our number 2, trading right up just underneath 1875, call it 10,000 of the July 2nd expiring. Extremely short, talking about just coming up right in front of us. But the July 2nd expiring 19 calls, those were 49 cents up to about 72 cents. Fairly inexpensive, but this is a time very, very much that it's got to happen this week. So your time frame is very short. Just understand that. Extremely short term there. On Clorox, got a little bit longer. You're getting into the full cycle for July. Folks, have a great day of trading. I will tell you this. We'll see you tomorrow, but we also have a great Market Rebellion is putting out some of our educators. I'll be joining those guys. That's going to be tomorrow. It's going to be really exciting. Got Bill Johnson, Stu Dorfman, and all the guys. We'll be talking about a lot of the different things that we've been talking about here in terms of if you don't understand it, you want to get educated. That's exactly what these mentors do. They do an absolutely amazing job. I think our team is incredible in how detailed they are and how much they care about trying to get you educated. Folks, have a great day of trading. I'll see you tomorrow.